We got quotes to renovate this pool for $30,000. I did it myself for five, $25,000 saved, one professional hired, everything else was me. And I'll be honest about the timeline because most videos aren't. This took 90 days. I'm 5'8", 145 pounds, and I'd never done this before. I'm not telling you that so you'll be impressed. I'm telling you because I know who's watching this and quietly assuming it's a job for somebody else. It isn't. Stay to the end, and I'll also cover where the money for a project like this comes from when it's not sitting in your checking account. So that's where we started in this video, and I want to give you guys a little bit of context and background on how we ended up here for about $5,000 after being quoted $30,000. I want to be honest. The pool itself was in great condition. And we spent a lot of time in 2020 when this part of the video was taken renovating the entire inside of the home. We really gutted it and focused on the inside where you do spend most of the time. We actually took out all of those cabinets. We took out a lot of the walls that were in the living room. We raised the ceiling, and we were not at all focused on the pool. So fast forward to 2026, we had tile falling into our pool, getting into our filtration system. And let me tell you guys, you do not want tile getting in your filtration system. And that's the entire reason that I'm standing here now. Once that starts to happen, it's not really a decision of if you're going to renovate, it's just a decision of when you're going to renovate and how you're going to do it. So, before we even get to the tips, we did save some money in 2020 by skipping the tile. At that time, all we did was paint and move on, and it did cost us the entire project in 2026. So by focusing on the house back then, the whole surface and the waterline tile, which is really just one system, we've learned that if you do half of it, you really have not saved any money. You've really just scheduled the job for later. So before we get to the tips, I did get some quotes around $30,000. I think the lowest actually came in at 24,000. The highest came in at 24,000. So that's not a ripoff, by the way. That is real prices for real work based on 2025 contractor work for pool renovation in San Diego. And that's where we're located. We're in Southern California. And that's where we come to the fork in the road. Like any renovation, you can pay with your money or you can pay with your time. Already resurfaced. Most people assume they can't afford the money version, so they never price it out properly. And I want to show you both. But before we start, there are 6 tips that I want to share. Tip 1, get the quotes anyway. Even if you're certain that you're going to do the job yourself, the quote tells you what the job actually involves, gives you a real number to measure against, and sometimes talks you out of it, which is also a useful answer. Tip number 2, know your number and where it's coming from before you drain your pool. This is one people skip. Decide what this costs and how you're going to fund it before the water goes out, because a drained pool is a clock. You can't pause a job like this for 3 weeks while you sort out money. And if you're using your home equity to pay for it, get that lined up in advance. A HELOC or a second mortgage isn't a same week thing. Start it before you start your project, not in the middle of it. I'll cover how that works at the end. Tip 3, order every supply up front. My local stores were out of something almost every time I went in. So make your full list, order all of it, let it arrive, double check it, lay it out, confirm it on your spreadsheet, and then drain the pool. Tip 4, choose your coating first and then buy everything else to its instructions. I bought the high-end epoxy pool paint from Leslie's, and I can link the exact paint that I bought. I won't be too specific in this video, but because pool paint is on the shelf, that doesn't exactly mean that it's amazing. There's standard 1-part paint, which is cheaper, and there's true 2-part epoxy, a resin and hardener you mix, which costs meaningfully more. I did buy the higher end epoxy deliberately. It's the one line item worth paying up for, And honestly, I didn't want to have to do this job again for a long time, and I wanted it to really last and also not be too slippery on our feet when we're in the pool because we do have children. After you do that, then buy your primer and prep chemicals to match that product's data sheet. Mixing one company's primer with another's epoxy is the fastest way to cause an adhesion failure. And that means doing all of this again. Tip number 5, check the weather across your entire cure window, not just the day that you're going to paint. I did learn this at the very end, and it was raining. And so we ended up putting off our epoxy paint for a long time so that it would cure properly. You do not want to spend all of this time renovating your pool and then having it rain only to totally destroy your job. And tip 6, decide what you're hiring out and price that out first, just in case you decided that you're not going to do all the work yourself, as in my case. And for me, it was the tile work that I did end up outsourcing because I have an amazing tile guy here in San Diego. Shout out to Horacio. So if you're looking for a good tile guy, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to share his contact information. He's really fair, he's amazing, and I love hiring my own subcontractors when I can. It saves me a ton of money from hiring a general contractor. So, step 1 is to drain your pool. I will tell you to check your local regulations in your community. Sometimes there are restrictions against just draining your pool. I couldn't find any specifically for mine, so we went ahead and had our old pool guy do it for us. And it was really easy. They came and set up a pump, and then within 48 hours, I believe, it was drained. Step number 2, prep and sand. This is the step everyone rushes, and it decides whether your renovation lasts 6 years or 6 months. Clean it, degrease it, sand it. 80 to 120 grit. Rent the orbital or pole sander. That's the difference between a weekend or 3 weekends. And don't skimp here. It's the most boring of the project, and there's a loud voice at hour 4 saying that's probably good enough. It is not good enough. Every hour you cut, you pay back by doing this whole thing again in 2 years, which you don't want to do. Step 3, patch. Hydraulic cement or pull patch compound for cracks. 2-part underwater epoxy putty around fittings.
Pool's still dirty at the bottom, but the
Before your
tile's coming
final sanding
in.
pass, then sand it all flush together. One thing to note as well is wear the
That looks way
gear,
better.
wear the eye protection, wear the respirator covering your mouth. The muric acid and epoxy solvents aren't things to be casual about at all. Step 4, tile. This is the thing that we skipped. We let our tile guy do this for us. It cost us $2,500 and it was worth every single second. He did a fabulous job. We did make sure that we had all of the products ready for him, and that did include the tile as well as the grout of our choice.
Doing a little retile.
Step 5,
the pool.
coat. Solvent-resistant roller covers,
well turn
buy
it into a
extras.
skate park.
Epoxy destroys
You gonna
cheap
go?
ones. And graduated measuring containers, because 2-part epoxy is a chemical reaction. So if your ratio is off, it won't cure right. And again, there's no fixing that. You do not want to ruin your whole job. So measure your surface area, not your water volume, and buy, I would say, with a 10% margin. I painted in the evenings because it was cooler to work, and the coating, essentially had completely overnight to set before taking in the next day's heat. Also, I was not in a hurry, so I was able to let the paint fully dry before moving on to the second and third coat. I did give the pool 3 coats of epoxy paint. The final and 6th step is to let it cure, refill it, and then balance your pool water. I want to tell you, ladies, I did this all myself. My husband really did not lift a finger. He did not lift a hammer. I think overall we did a great job and it came out amazing. Let me know what you think and how we did. If you need some assistance and you comment the word pool below, then I'm happy to send you the full PDF and all the information that I used, along with the 6 tips, all the steps, every single product, and the financing breakdown. Thanks for watching and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.